Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are for what I'm calling case number two of the verdict. We're going to be putting Terrifier on on trial and see what we get. Eric's with me, of course. And this is going to be an interesting one, man.
Mhm.
When we talked about some possibilities, it's funny how you brought this up and it was kind of in the back of my mind as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it was interesting because we were trying to think of something, that's not part of, like, big franchises, but it's
Right,
still
right.
somewhat relevant, and with, the sequel coming out, what, couple years ago, and then we got 3 coming out in a handful of weeks, if not
Yeah,
less.
less than 2
So,
weeks, I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
gonna be interesting because this it's got a huge following, no matter what you say. There are those I'm serious, like, hardcore fans of
Yeah,
Terrifier.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's, like, literally a movement,
Mhm,
for art and so forth, which, I can understand. I think that's why this will be a really cool discussion because as far as the horror community,
mhm,
especially the community and viewers and friends that we deal with here on YouTube, there's this cry for new things, fresh
mhm.
things. Let's stop doing remakes and sequels and reboots and reimaginings and so forth and so forth. So this is one of those answers. And the question today, which we will find out, is that answer worthwhile or not? Is it innocent or is it guilty? So we'll be talking about that. And for you guys in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate that.
Mhm.
It definitely is very encouraging. We got Scott in the house saying, I can't join, but wanted to pop in and say hi. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Jerry's in the house. What's up, Jerry? Good to see you. Paul is in the house. All right. We got Mary with us saying, hey, everyone, this is going to be a good one for Terrifier fans. The most gory, blood soaked horror movie of recent years. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. All right. Let's see. Danielle's in the house and okie dokie, then let's do this. Even though I never watched this, too violent for me. Ooh. Now, wait a minute. How did you know it was too violent for you? Did you hear
Uh,
about it?
the reputation, I think,
Yeah.
says it alone, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
knew about this, and I just saw this for the first time maybe a handful of years ago.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
And I already knew
Nice.
about, like, at least the violence, because with social media, they like to share the gore, so
They do, man. They really, really do. No doubt about that. We got Spoof in the house. What's up, Spoof? And we got Gene. Gene's with us as
hey.
always. Gene, let me just say, Gene's, one of the MVPs, man. She always shows up. It doesn't matter what I could be talking about Mickey Mouse, and I don't mean the horror Mickey Mouse. I'm just talking about regular Mickey Mouse. And Gene's gonna show up. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. What's up, January in the house? Good to see you.
Hey.
Hope you're doing well. All right. January said, I'm scared of Art the Clown. He don't play. Yeah, right.
No
Art, Art
kidding.
don't Art don't play that. Catherine, what's up, Catherine? Good to see you. And Danielle said, yeah, the YouTube clips. There you go. All right. Okay. Um, Catherine saying, I like Terrifier, but it's scary. Yeah, it's some definite intense intense moments. I will
Mhm.
say that. Um, so this is what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna be kind of breaking down some talking points for Terrifier, and we will also have you guys be a part of this conversation, letting us know what you think about the topics we're covering. But also, we're going to be taking a vote and seeing if this film is innocent, quote unquote, innocent or guilty. Because again, I think it's a very Eric hit it on the nose. Is a very beloved. It's got a cult following,
Mhm.
but it's also pretty divisive.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, as a quick aside, I can honestly say some of my close friends, right here on YouTube, other content creators, I know some that love this film
Yeah.
and the franchise, or I should say the 2 films, I should say. And I
Mhm.
know some that absolutely hate it. As a matter of fact, there's a couple people I know that hate this film. I don't expect to see them in the
Yeah.
chat tonight.
That's the one thing that I've noticed, like, last night I watched this, I finished it up today before we streamed, and I've only seen it twice, but
Okay.
there's really, for me, at least the groups that I'm with online, yourself included, there's really no middle ground. People either love it or
Yeah.
hate it. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's basically 50-50 each category.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy though?
Mhm.
I've rarely seen something that is that intense on both sides. How
Yeah,
how about you?
not really. I mean, I get why people wouldn't like it because of how gratuitous the gore is. We'll get
Hmm.
into that stuff. But the people that like it, like a lot of them obsess about it. That
Yeah.
I've noticed. They're really like, art's pretty neat, the performance and the character and so like, but they are obsessed with everything they hear about them. Every time there's a new art picture on Google, they'll post it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or they're already excited for Terrifier 4, and the third one hasn't even come out yet, type of thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just weird, like there's no middle ground, it
Yeah,
seems.
it's really interesting, and like I said, I think that that's why this will be a really good discussion to have and kind of go
Hmm.
back and forth on. All right. Also, real quick too in the chat, just to check with these guys. We got some other people jumping in. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps us. We'd appreciate it. Alan's in the house. What's up, man? Saying just watched this for the first time last night.
Ooh,
Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. Interesting. We'll definitely continue to let us know what you think as we go through these different categories. And hey, man, the shape is in the house. What's up,
hey,
man? Good to see you, bro. And look, let me just also say big congrats to Shape, 2K subs. Make sure you guys check him out, subscribe, support our brother. And he's going to be having a little hangout on Wednesday night. I'm going to be popping in there, a couple of other people hanging out. We'll put the link in the chat. And Shape, you can also put the link in the chat too, um, to let people know. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So look, man, let's do a quick clip for the Shape. And big congrats on
yeah,
hitting 2K, man. That's no joke.
congratulations.
Yeah. Well, Eric, sometimes when you need inspiration, you look to certain individuals. This is one of the guys that I look at.
That's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard.
What we got here is failure to communicate. I got something for you.
There you go.
God bless Lance and Joe Grizzly.
Joe Grizzly. Yeah. All right. Very cool. Okay. So look, guys, let's get into some of the brass tacks on Terrifier, some things that we're going to talk about, some things that I also looked up. Obviously, the film written and directed by Damien Leone, and it has a 57% RT score, which to me, and I wanted to start this because we're going to be doing what I'm calling our opening statements.
Okay.
And first of all, to throw that out to you, Eric, um, what's your connection to this film, and what do you think about that 57% RT score?
My personal opinion, the first time I saw this, like I said, was probably a handful of years ago. I did it for my channel, discussed it. Like I said, I've seen just pictures. I didn't know anything about Art the Clown. I just seen pictures. We all know the selfie scene. We'll talk
Yeah.
about, the selfie torture scene.
Hmm.
And I sat down and I watched it, and I did a little bit of research. I made sure the kid was not in the room. So, and I highly
Right.
suggest that if you have young kids, do not watch this with them in the room.
That's right.
And honestly, I was blown away by the actor who plays Art. I can't think of his name off the
David
top.
David Howard Thornton.
Yeah, his performance is amazing
Yeah.
because there's no dialogue. It's strictly movements, body language, and as gross as a lot of these scenes were, as
Hmm.
gratuitous with a lot of and unnecessary, in my opinion, as a lot of the violent scenes were, I
Hmm.
couldn't take my eyes off the movie, not because of like what am I seeing type of thing, because I'm 42 years old. I've pretty much seen everything when it comes to horror. It's
Hmm.
it's David's performance as Art. I wanted to see what this guy would do next because I thought he was just so amazing in his performance, regardless of what else was going on in the movie.
Right. Yeah, man. He definitely put in a lot of soul into his performance, you know, the
Mhm.
whole idea of and he was classically trained, you know, pantomiming and stuff like that. And you can see it in the performance
Oh,
because
yeah.
Art doesn't he doesn't speak, you know what I'm saying? So I always gave him a lot of credit to be able to anytime you have a villain, and of course we know a couple that are the big ones.
Mhm.
Whenever you have a villain that doesn't speak, there has to be some way for them to communicate some type of physicality.
Yep.
And he does it in a very different way. Like
Mhm.
I gotta say, this is something that you don't get from any other horror villain I can really think of, and in the
Mhm.
same way, right?
Right.
You know, we have villains that can have fun and get hokey, but
Mhm.
also intense, but he does it in a way that's very, very unique in his own.
Mhm.
Um, for me, I had heard about the film and I didn't really have any preconceived notion per se. I just heard that I heard that it was good. That was quote unquote the word that I
Mhm.
got. And I think I might have heard that it had a lot of violence, but I don't really remember that. All I know is there was one night we put the movie on. I'm watching it with Corey, and I look, man, I can't lie. I was just like, wow, because I wasn't expecting what I saw in a number of ways. And
Mhm.
the biggest way was I thought the production of it was pretty good
Mhm.
for what it was. The budget for this film was right around $50,000.
Mhm.
And to be quite honest, you can't tell. I mean,
Right.
it has basically one location or kind of like two locations, but one main
Right.
location. But the way that they cut corners and chose to kind of hide the low budget, I thought was fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, like it could have look, man, and you know as well as I do, this thing could have gone south real
Yeah.
quick with a
Mhm.
lot of different things, but I thought they were able to stretch that budget quite a bit. I was
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah. They did a real good job of hiding, I guess you'd say, a lot of the imperfections. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? With the way the camera was held, the way the camera is, the quick cuts, like with a lot of some of the kills, they're quick. You know what I mean? So you
Hmm.
don't get to see any type of, I don't know, maybe mistakes with the practical effects or stuff like that, or you get to see how low budget it is. There's a couple after effects, I guess you'd say, of the victims that it does show, but overall, I'm pretty surprised at how good it looks. Really, how do I say it? It looks cool, but it also looks very, very dirty at the same time.
Yeah. Yes.
And not
Yes.
just, and I'm not talking about like the subject matter, the violence and all that stuff, just the way it looks. It does feel very grindhouse. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Very dirty like that. Like not like
Hmm.
Maniac where you want to like, feel like you have to shower afterwards, but it still has that dirty feeling. Like you do feel a little unclean watching it.
Right, you do. I
Mhm.
did too, man. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is wow. There were a couple moments, and listen, I mean, obviously, we're both in that same generation. And we've been watching horror movies for decades, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. It's funny. I had one person in the comments once, not too long ago, asked if I was to take a guess how many horror movies have I watched in my life. I couldn't even, and he said including rewatches. And I was like,
Wow.
oh shit. Well,
Hmm.
that just blew that number up a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, so I couldn't even think of what that number is. It's an insane amount. And I totally agree with you. This is one of those movies where even myself, I was just kind of like, you know, my shoulders hunched
Hmm.
up a little bit, and
Yeah.
it had that gritty realism that you'd see in something like Maniac or even
Hmm.
TCM.
Hmm.
Um, what the hell is that name of that movie? Oh my god, I can't think of it. The Australian one.
Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek,
Yeah.
exact. You're all right, man. Yes, Wolf Creek. It has those types of vibes because it's just so. It's just if look, man. I know there's no friggin' Art the Clown.
Mhm.
Well, and let me retract that. This is a movie, and I
Yeah.
know that,
Right.
but it felt like it was real. It
It's one of
really,
those
really was.
things that, like, despite, no matter what because we have not discussed what we're gonna say before, before we got online.
Hmm.
What makes a movie really good is if the environment is a character, like The Thing. You feel cold watching The Thing. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
If you're watching Predator 2 or even like Do the Right Thing, you feel like you're sweating watching those two movies.
That's
When
right.
you're in the factory part, or I guess you'd say the apartment complex of Terrifier, you feel like you're part of that dirty basement that they're
You
in.
do.
You really do.
Yeah. You do. You do. And again, they were able to really hide, so much
Hmm.
with the choices that they made, which were smart choices because it felt claustrophobic, it felt
Hmm.
um tense, the camera work was pretty good. So anyways,
Hmm.
we watched it and I think both of us were just kind of like, wow, like there was a level of being impressed because this wasn't Don't Go in the Woods. This wasn't this wasn't Blood Cult. This wasn't Good Night, God Bless. Okay.
Man.
Or it definitely wasn't Madman. I mean, like I was like, wow.
Hmm.
So in that sense, I was just like, well, this is interesting. And then of course, and I'm sure and I hope that we'll get into two, because obviously Terrifier 3 is going to be upon us very soon. And it looks as though this is a bona fide, becoming a bona fide franchise,
Yeah,
which
I
eh,
could see that.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, interesting stuff. Okay, so let's jump to the chat and just check in with these guys. Let's see. January January saying I saw part one. I was scared to watch part two, but part one had a story. As far as the victims, I'm not sure what art's history is for me. Yeah, that they've really had that shrouded in
Hmm.
mystery, which I think is smart. We've talked about that type of thing many times with villains. Gene saying I've seen both Terrifier movies, and all I can say is wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
that's for
go.
sure.
Yep. Let's see. Oh yeah, definitely. Grindhouse shout out to Cherry Darling, Rose McGowan. Yeah, an awesome character. It's funny that you mentioned that movie. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It's funny because I haven't heard that movie mentioned in a while, and it's just funny you mention it. That's all I'll say. We'll see what comes up next on the channel. DJ's in the house. What's up?
Hey,
What's up?
DJ.
Um, and yes, and we gifted some memberships. So hopefully, some of the folks are here. Sometimes it gifts people that may not be here, but that frequent the channel. So we've got David, Saucy, Creepin, Saint Z, and Philip's back with us. So
Very cool.
welcome to the channel membership, and hope that you guys enjoy it and hang out with us. Okay. Let's see. So I'm caught up there. So let's do this. Now the next
Sure.
thing I wanted to step into is what we're going to be calling the cross-examination. Basically, we're going to throw a question out. I'll throw one out to you, you'll throw one out to me. You guys in the chat can throw out a question as well. We might be able to get to it depending. All right, so my question for you is, when you think of Terrifier, I mean, we're talking
Hmm.
about this first film, but when you think about Terrifier, where does it land for you in horror as far as compared to other horror films or other horror villains or iconic slashers, however you'd want to preface that? Where does this movie and its rise, its cult rise, where does it fall for you?
For me personally,
Yeah.
that's tough because there's stuff I really appreciate and get into when it comes to this film, but then
Mm-hmm.
there's some other things that I just don't like, and I think they went a little overboard with some things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just this film, it's real tough because also it's not that old of a movie. It's less than 10 years old,
That's right.
and
2016.
it's only got a sequel. But I think Art the Clown himself is definitely going to rise. Even let's just say, Terrifier 3 doesn't make enough money to have the
Mm-hmm.
fourth film. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I still think with Art's popularity and with David's performance, I think that'll help boost him into horror iconic, status. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
he's there yet, because again,
Yeah.
less than 10 years old. You got tons of people,
Right.
it's going to take a while to be as as popular as like the big three: Michael, Jason, Freddy, even Leatherface,
Mm-hmm.
Ghostface. Chucky, because they've been around, since the 80s or longer. Like, he's above Leprechaun. You know what I mean? Leprechaun's a joke.
Wait a minute.
You know what I mean?
He's already jumped it, man. I wish Strange Monkey was around. So
Yeah.
he's already jumped above Leprechaun.
In my opinion, yeah. In my opinion, he's already jumped above Leprechaun. He's maybe neck and neck with Pinhead. Give it another, honestly, maybe another 10 years. I think he's gonna really be up there, like right under Ghostface. So maybe top 5. So for me personally, I think that this really can only go nowhere but up. Because the thing is, you're gonna find new horror fans every year, every month. You know what I mean? Every day, how you would say. And there are a lot of people that just love gore for gore's sake, and every day there's going to be one of those fans that watches Terrifier for the first time. So I think it can only go up when it comes to its reputation.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting. It's interesting that you put it like that because there are those films, or I should say, there are those villains and franchises that have been around, like you said, from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. We're not even talking about the 2000s, man. Like, one thing that people a lot of times forget that I've really I haven't championed as much as I want to or should, but hopefully we'll be going into that gear soon because of the new film. But a lot of people forget the 2000s Jigsaw. I mean, look, man, you got 11 movies, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, or it's going to be 11 movies. That's not shabby at all. And a huge following. So you're right. Art is competing with other villains that have been around for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So it's really, it's tough to say, okay, he has made it. But I will agree. I will agree with you. I do think he's jumped over a few of the and you know what? It's crazy, man, because I know there's probably someone watching this right now, or maybe watching it on replay, that's like, I love Leprechaun. What the fuck are you guys talking about?
Don't get me wrong, I love Leprechaun too, but I can tell you the truth. A lot of those movies are pretty fucking stupid. You know what I mean? And Warwick, God bless him, and the other two people that portrayed it, they knew what they were getting into.
Yes.
But there's a different type of comedy that David does with Art than Warwick did with the Leprechaun. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Art is this disgusting, vile, violent for violence sake type of character, and you buy that. Warwick Davis is a Saturday morning cartoon. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I mean. People look at Leprechaun, they roll their eyes more than love the character. I think Art popularity has already trumped him.
I agree. Right now, yes, I agree. I mean, of course. See, that's the thing about, and this is an interesting part of the conversation I didn't even think we'd get into, but right now is an interesting time for these OG icons or villains, because some of them are still flourishing, like Michael, obviously Ghostface, but some of them are kind of on that hiatus, on vacay, basically, and it's really a question on where are they going to be in the next year or so. Most notably, I mean, obviously, I always got to plug them, Jason. People are just waiting outside of the doorsteps of the producers and Sean Cunningham to make something happen. And as time goes on, I'm not saying that those things fade, but you'll have other possibilities like an Art the Clown come in and maybe take some of that shine. Same thing with Freddy. Ironically enough, and and I gotta have the business hat on too. I have my new latest video that jumped out today. Why You Hate a Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. I finally did it. I've been waiting.
I know you have.
That's one of two that I was like, oh, do I want to go down this road? But I just dropped that today. So if you guys haven't checked that out, please check it out, because I do think, again, when we talk about these icons and these villains, Eric made a good point. Art the Clown can start leapfrogging some of these. He's not going to leapfrog Freddy. I mean,
no.
Freddy would have to not have a movie for at least another 15, 20 years, in my opinion, before Art could even You know what I mean?
And see, the one thing is when it comes to someone like Freddie, like Michael will never stop. The Akad's already said that that's in his Hollywood contract.
That's right.
Michael will be having movies after you and I are long gone, night. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Freddie will always be around because they keep making documentaries about him. They keep
Yes.
making Robert Englund documentaries, and as
Eh,
long as those
that's right.
things keep cranking out, that's gonna introduce Freddie to a whole new generation. So he will never be
Mhm.
gone. Jason, everyone, even people that don't watch horror movies, they know a guy in a hockey mask. They know that's Jason. So he is
That's
an
right.
iconic status. Same with
Mhm.
Leatherface. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's gonna take a while for Terrifier to, like you say, leapfrog them or even get close. But
Mhm.
people, I hate to say it, I think Jigsaw is, even though they keep cranking those movies out,
Mhm.
not counting 10 or X or whatever they're calling it, he's
Mhm.
relegated to cameos. John
Yes.
Kramer.
True.
So people don't really, in my
Mhm.
opinion, or at least me personally, I like the series, but I don't really care as much
Mhm.
anymore because he's
Mhm.
barely in it, and he's the one I want to watch.
Right.
Art the Clown's in this movie 99% of it. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
So there's more for people to either love or hate when it comes to art compared to like Jigsaw or someone like that.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed. All right. So look, with this whole idea of the cross examination, I'll have you throw out a question to me if you've got it. But before we do that, let me just double check in with the chat here. Danielle, you gotta love Danielle. She says, "I really need to learn how to accept gifted memberships, but my blonde hair prevents me." Well, and it's funny though, because actually I don't explain it well myself, but I know it's in the settings, and you have to actually turn on accepting gifts.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go. Um, we got David in the house saying loved this movie. Oh, there you go. We're gonna have the poll up soon for you guys. We're gonna determine the innocence or guilt. Look at January. I didn't want to say it, but Leprechaun did go to the hood. There you go. There you go. Oh my God. And Danielle saying that we have to put ourselves in the shoes of the children watching Terrifier the same way that we watch Halloween, TCM, Jason, Freddy, and Myers. To them, art is their boogeyman. No, I agree. I
Oh,
agree
I
with
get
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and trust me, this was an intense movie to me. So I could just imagine 7-year-old me when I first started really watching horror movies.
Hmm.
This would totally scare the shit out of me. And but here's the thing though, and obviously I'll never know, but I'm wondering if I would latch on to this film like I did with Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare. You know what I'm saying? If I was to have seen, this is actually a really good little segue before you throw a question at me.
Hmm.
I'm wondering if I would latch onto it like those movies back then.
I don't think I would have because I'm sure we're going to get into it. A lot of the characters in those franchises that we were growing up, they had characters you can relate to,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I'll without showing cards or anything, there aren't really a lot of relatable characters in Terrifier. You
Mhm.
always had the nerdy guy who couldn't get the girl.
Right.
That's who you had the jock, you had the party guy, you had the party girl, you had the quiet
Hmm.
one. Everybody usually had someone they could gravitate to in those. So I
Hmm.
don't think I would probably, if I saw this, like if this came out when we were watching those as kids, I don't think I would probably enjoy it like I would enjoy Friday the 13th or something
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I think that these movies, or I should say this movie, I keep
Hmm.
saying these, but we're talking specifically about Terrifier. But I think this movie is is very interesting because it's trying to appeal to us.
Hmm.
Damien is an old school horror head. The Trinity, Freddy, Michael,
Hmm.
Jason. A Wes Craven fan, TCM. So, and of course him doing the practical effects, which is fantastic. I will say,
Yeah.
you've got a person that's the writer, the director, and also doing the effects. That is amazing work, blood, sweat, and tears. So much respect and love to him. But this film, I think, is tailor made to horror fans, whereas those films when we grew up, whether it was Nightmare or Friday the 13th or what have you, I think those films, it was just kind of coming from a different place, and I
Hmm.
think so. I think that's part of the equation. But anyways, interesting thought, Danielle.
Mhm.
Interesting thought. Let me know some more of what you think of that, Danielle, and also the rest of you guys. Um, Doom Turkey saying Leprechaun 1 went hard. Yeah, there you go. Mary saying Art to me is the most scariest, nastiest, and brutalest clown ever. He's horrifying. Well, there you go. That's well said. I love it. Alan saying the big icons have a special weapon. Art just whips out a gun. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Let's see. We got Jamster in the house. Welcome to the chat. We appreciate you being here. I think it's the first time I've seen you here in the live chat. Saying I wouldn't have my 7-year-old watch this. No,
No, my
no,
daughter's
no,
12,
no.
and I made sure she was in her room when I finished this afternoon.
Yeah, no.
And
This is
she's seen some gore stuff, you know what I mean? And I've also showed her some of the behind the scenes stuff. Like, she knows it's fake. She's seen all my Savini books.
yeah.
I was watching a Chucky movie one day, and she was interested in like fire stunts, and she was interested in, like, the neck slit, prosthetics and stuff like that. I
Hmm.
still would not, like, nudity aside, I still would not let her watch this one.
Yeah, kind of like what Mary was saying, there's a brutal nature to this.
Yeah.
Um, like I guess what I'm saying is there's a line in the sand, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And most, and this is not to make it sound like those older films are punks, because they're
Right.
not, but this film definitely crossed that line multiple times and firmly put its feet on the other side of that line.
Yeah,
You know what
you
I'm
could tell
saying?
it tried to cross that line. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that. Yep. No doubt. Um, Great comment, Jamster. I mean, I wouldn't want a 7-year-old to watch this either,
No,
no doubt.
I won't.
And let's see, we got Alex in the house. Welcome, Alex, saying, let's see, new to your channel. And to answer your question, yes, Art is on his way. Well, first of all, welcome to the channel and
Yeah.
welcome to our live chat. Great to have you here. Hope that you're enjoying the conversation. And yeah, I mean, Art is definitely on his way. I agree with you. No doubt at all. He's on his way, and we'll
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll see where he goes. We'll see where he goes. We also have our good brother Ben coming in with a super chat. All
Hey,
right.
man.
Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you, brother. Saying, Night, Eric, thank you for this. My local friends are planning on a double feature of Terrifier and Terrifier 2 before Terrifier 3 on October the 10th. I totally appreciate you guys and our community. Well, hey, man. Hey,
Yeah,
man.
thanks.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
Yeah.
you as well. Very kind of you to do that. It definitely helps us out, and
Mhm.
we appreciate it. So let's do a clip. Let's go to some old stuff we haven't done
Uh-oh.
in a while, man. Because we haven't. There's a couple things we haven't done in a while. You know, sometimes when you're talking horror, you feel like you could be in school. And you remember when we were in school, sometimes you might have a substitute teacher, and sometimes he might sound like this.
There she is. Sexy lady.
Coach Hines, there you go. All right, Ben, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Seriously, it definitely helps
Mhm.
us out. So how about you, man? Do you have a question? I mean, we just went on a huge roller coaster there, which was cool, and I
Mhm.
knew we would. But any questions that come to your mind that you wanted to throw out that are interesting about this film or
Well, yeah,
art?
one thing I got, because, like I said, I'm praising David as art because
Hmm.
it's nothing but body language. And we've had silent killers before, with
Hmm.
Michael, with Jason. Leatherface, technically, he screams, but he's technically quiet. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Freddy's pretty much the only verbal jokester, and
Hmm.
Art is a jokester as well in his own little way. Do you think the performance would be as good if he spoke? Because I personally
Ooh.
think David as the silent killer, but very vocal in his body language, is what sold me. Like I said, it kept me coming back for more. Do you think Art would be as strong of a character if he, and not necessarily one-liners, but if he was just,
Hmm.
a speaking killer?
That is a good question. I don't think I've ever really thought of that. Holy shit, man. That's a good that's a good question for the cross-examination. You guys in the chat also let us know what you think. That's why we wanted to do this with you guys live. Um, I would think maybe not, because once you're talking,
Hmm.
you open up a whole bunch of question marks, right? As far as what is he saying, when is he saying it, how is he saying it,
Hmm.
right? if you look at Freddy, I mean, we always kind of go back to, Freddy, but even like Chucky, if you look at
Yeah.
those two specifically, the earlier films, they were able to have dialogue, but they were still able to invoke terror.
Hmm.
It was a more serious um type of version of both of those characters, and
Right.
especially Freddy. I mean, I've famously said once we got to four, that three, we got to the edge of the cliff. Dream
Hmm.
Wars, we got to the edge of the cliff, and then we stepped away,
Yeah.
and we were like, yeah, because we can now talk more. Robert's charisma is great. A
Hmm.
couple of one-liners and quips worked because they were placed in the right spots. And then four is when we were like, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And so I think that with art, there's that possibility of taking it in the wrong direction, whereas as a silent killer, like for instance in this film, and for you
Hmm.
guys that have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. In that pizza joint scene,
Yes.
right, when he's in the pizza joint, when I was first watching this, I wasn't aware that he was going to be totally silent, right?
Hmm.
In that scene, there was great tension
Yeah.
because I mean, can you imagine if you go to a pizza joint, you just had a party, and we've got our two of our female leads going in there to kind of get themselves situated so they can go home for the night. It's late at night, the pizza
Hmm.
joint is empty. We've all been there. This guy dressed up as a clown comes in, he's mean mugging you, like
Yeah.
super mean mugging you, and then 3 seconds later, he's smiling and waving and
Yeah.
you
He's
know
like this and
go
everything. Yeah.
yes, man. Like, what are we doing? And it's funny because Jenna Canal was the person that was kind of like, nah, man, this ain't cool. I'm not down with this. Something's really off
Hmm.
about this guy. The lady that was playing Tara, the dark-haired girl. And
Okay.
then of course, Dawn, the blonde, she was like having fun with it. She's taking selfies and all that type of
Hmm.
stuff. And so, but there was a lot of tension as far as because we know that he's a killer,
Yeah.
right? But they don't know for sure, right?
Hmm.
So it was a question of when is he going to strike? And I think that scene worked really well because he didn't talk. So I would say that he's more effective as a silent killer, and it
Hmm.
was a smart choice for them to choose not to have him talk at all.
Yeah. I think that was like that's definitely the better choice because when you add speech and with art being he's goofy, you know what I mean? Despite
Yeah,
what he does, he's goofy as hell.
yeah, he is.
The comedy is very subjective. What you
Yes.
might think is funny night, I might think is ridiculous and dumb. So that's the challenge you take when you try to make already someone who's a jokester, you give them that verbal punchline.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think him being silent, not just in the pizza shack scene, but the part where he's holding the baby doll. You know what I mean? He's not saying anything at all. He's just looking and just doing this thing. That
yeah.
helps with the creepiness factor. That helps with
Yes.
making him actually scary in a lot
Mhm.
of scenes. And if he was just, he's a crazy clown saying, coochie coo to the baby doll or whatever, it would
Right,
be kind of lame, after what we've
right,
already just seen, in my opinion.
right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally agreed, man. No doubt about that. All right. Real quick too in the chat. Hey, we got James in the house. What's up, man? Good to see
Hey,
you.
Sir
Hope you've been
James.
doing well. Long time no see. Coming in with a $5 super chat saying Blumhouse and Terrifier are the millennials version of horror, like Instagram and TikTok is the millennials Hollywood. Well, there you go. I mean, and that's what Daniel was saying earlier, though. Like Terrifier is definitely, or Art the Clown definitely is, for these younger horror fans, what Freddy and Jason and Leatherface were to
Mhm.
us when we were growing up. And whether or not that will translate in the same way, I think that's going to be an interesting thing as well to see in the coming years, because the interesting thing about the Trinity, and I've talked about this ad nauseum in
Mhm.
live streams and so many videos, no matter whether it was a Friday 13th video, Nightmare video, or Halloween video, is that the Trinity helped each other constantly. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Friday the 13th tried to rip off Halloween. Friday the 13th opened up the floodgate for the slasher craze, which changed what Halloween 2 was. And then, of
Mhm.
course, Freddy comes in and changes the game. And then, so now Friday 13th and Halloween have to readjust to kind of try to hang with Nightmare because Nightmare became so famous. So
Yeah.
they were it's kind of like in competition. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
your biggest competitor helps to make you better.
Better.
And I think
Yep.
that's what was happening in the 80s
Mhm.
specifically. It's going to be interesting because right now Art is like really one of the newest ones solo. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see how that trajectory goes for Art the Clown and Terrifier.
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
You need that competition. Like you and me grew up watching wrestling,
that's right.
WWF wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't for WCW at their heels and then overcoming them type of thing. So you need
That's
that
right.
competition to see perhaps what air quotes what you're doing wrong so you
Right.
can overcome that current rival and be the top dog.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, Sir James, thank you so much for doing that, man. This really helps
Yeah.
us out and helps us to do streams like this. Let's do a clip for Sir James. And, sometimes you just got to go back to the old school. This is like an old school night. And you guys know when it comes to dancing, there's only a couple guys at the top of the list. And here's one of them. Here we go.
Baby, can you dig your man? He's a righteous man. Don't let go.
There he
It's been
is,
a while
man.
since I've seen that one.
Right? I know, man. I'm in a nostalgic mood tonight,
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
the
Yep.
whiplash he gives himself at that dance alone, man.
I know, man. It's crazy. We got Russell in the house.
Hey,
What
Russell.
is up? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, man. Let's see. And we've got David. What's up, man? All right. Saying, do you think the creeper is up there with Art? I'll tell you what. Well, Eric, if you'd like to answer it first, I'll let you go.
I don't know. I
Hmm.
think, I think the stigma of those films, and we won't get
Hmm.
into it. If you know, and we'll leave it at that. I
Hmm.
think that's holding him back because a lot of people just refuse to watch the films, and that's fine.
Hmm.
I like the creeper, but I think that ship has sailed, to be honest, because the third film is not well regarded, and I haven't seen Reborn, but I don't know a single person that has even said it was good.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think his reputation is I don't think he's anywhere close as to where art can go. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting that if you look at it like that, because let me just say this, and hopefully I don't rant.
Mhm.
The creeper and Jeepers Creepers, or the creeper specifically, is one of the most frustrating concepts, or I should say, franchises and villains of all time.
Mhm.
And the reason why, and like you said, it's shrouded in controversy, so that it's par for the course. But
Mhm.
the films themselves, you've got a character that literally, other than maybe Freddy, has a
Mhm.
mythology that is so wide open. There's
Yeah.
so many places you can go with the creeper,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Creatively speaking, and it's almost like they just dropped the ball with it,
Yeah.
after two, right?
Mhm.
um and like you said, maybe that ship has sailed, especially with Reborn and how crappy it's been received, how crappy it is and the way it's been received. So it's interesting because the creeper on paper is a great villain, in,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Great mythology, but yet here you have Art the Clown, who is much more. Oh, we're just talking about this movie, much more
Right.
basic. Okay,
Yes.
we're not talking about two yet. But he's much more basic, and there's an intensity that is not playing to entertainment per se. It's about
Mhm.
crossing the line and pushing the
Yeah.
envelope. So it's interesting that, and I guess what I'm saying is I agree with you. I think Art has leapfrogged over the creeper.
Yeah.
I really do.
Mhm.
Just in popularity, and also in what they're doing with Art, and also where they can go with
Mhm.
Art. Like the sky's right. Unless this movie coming out in a few days sucks hardcore,
Yeah.
the sky's the limit for Art the
Mhm.
Clown as far as where they decide to take it. I mean, of course, you got to keep making right decisions, but the
Mhm.
sky's the limit. It really,
Yeah.
really is. All right. Um, Alan said Pennywise was scarier when he spoke. Well, I will say Pennywise is a good example of when it works,
Yeah.
right? Because it could have gone bad, but fortunately, Tim Curry, the great Tim Curry and Skarsgård, they were just great in the roles. They really
Yeah,
were.
they're two totally different characters too. Pennywise has to speak because
Hmm.
he feeds on your fears. He's supposed to be what scares you. So he has to have that vocal with him. Art, he just cuts you up. He doesn't need to say anything.
Yep, absolutely. No doubt, no doubt. Let's see. Broncos in the chat. What's up,
Hey,
man?
Brad.
Good to see you. Saying, I can't stay. Just wanted to say that Art is definitely the new horror icon, and I hope he goes on to a long and storied history. There you go, indie horror. Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for Art as well. I'm rooting for him as well. Let's see. Who else in the chat? Alex saying, absolutely, him being silent yet so charismatic is excellent. Yes, 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 yes. Let's see. Who else? Who else? I think I'm about caught up here. Um, do. All right. Jams are saying Terrifier 2, one of the few movies I had to look away. Yeah, it's a tough one. And like I said, hopefully we'll get to Terrifier 2. That's something I'd love to get to, especially with 3 right on the horizon. Sarah's in the house.
Hey,
What's
Sarah.
up? Thank you for being here, Sarah. We appreciate that. Saying, hey friends, sorry I'm late. Hey, well, welcome. Um, we got Amanda in the house. Then millennials aren't even that into TikTok. Most are not deeply engrossed in Instagram. Oh, okay. Gen Z. Okay. All right. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat.
Yeah.
Saying plus there was plenty of trash back in the day, just like there's plenty of good now. That's very true, man. I mean, look,
Mm-hmm.
if you guys, and I know a lot of you guys are newer to the channel, but my good friend here, Eric, knows when we were doing Slasher Movie Club week in and week out, and we got up to 100 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We watched a lot of bad movies from
Yep.
the 80s. We
Mm-hmm.
watched a couple, and if Coriander were here, she could say it. We watched a couple movies. One in particular, we couldn't even finish. We had to stop it. It was planned to be a discussion. She said, I just can't watch this.
Which
This
one
is
was that?
horrible.
Do you remember?
I think it was Blood Cult.
Okay.
And it was shot on basically I could shoot a better movie as far as the quality.
Wow.
Okay. And
Okay.
I'm not a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
So there's truth to that, Amanda. There are
Yeah.
films from back in the day that you can't even watch because they're just so poorly made and have absolutely nothing there, no production value,
Mm-hmm.
no practical effects value. Um, the music is not good. So, even a movie like this, even if it's not your cup of tea, it
Right.
has good production value,
Yeah.
practical effects, homegrown,
Mm-hmm.
and it's well shot. It's well shot. And it
Some of
tells.
those, like, you can just go on Tubi right now. A lot of people, they say and this is just me, on my little soapbox. A lot of people say the
Mhm.
80s was the best time for horror because of the slashers.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of those slashers, like, they don't even have the entertainment value for me. Like,
Right.
like, I grew up on trauma films, right? So I can handle
Yeah.
bad production, I can handle, bad acting, but if I
Mhm.
can find some entertainment, like I have, at least we're talking about with Art in Terrifier,
Mhm.
I can at least let it slide and finish the movie. Some of those in the 80s are, and I'll say it, some of them are pure garbage. And
Mhm.
then you can just go on Tubi and see that, but there are those diamonds that you will find, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. Yep. I hear you. Real quick too in the chat, and this is really cool. You guys are doing a good job. Sarah saying, looks like I'm in the minority here, but I really dislike these movies. I know you do, Sarah. I know. I don't understand the appeal. I've never liked gore for the sake of gore. Give me good characters and good writing. I want a story. Well said. Well
Yep.
said. And I
I agree.
think and you guys know, I mean, obviously you guys know about the films that we talk about here. And I've always said, a story that is good can
Mhm.
trump almost anything. If
Yep.
you've got a good story and you've got, at least adequate actors, characters in the film that can overcome budgets, that can
Mhm.
overcome maybe not a great soundtrack or score, that can overcome maybe a poor finale where they didn't stick the landing. So I
Yep.
absolutely agree with that, Sarah. Story is so
Big time.
important in characters. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Um, let's see. Alex saying very fair. Absolutely, I agree. I agree with that. Now, guys, just to let you know, in the chat, we've got a poll up where I'm basically asking you guys as we get closer and closer to the verdict: is Terrifier a good movie? And we've got yes, meaning that we're going to, classify the film as innocent, and we've got no, meaning we're going to classify it as guilty. Right now, we've got 17 votes. We had 30 people in the chat, so please vote. Please vote. Let us know what you think, guys. Right now, 71% at yes. I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Wow. Who
I'll be
knew?
honest, yeah, I didn't think it'd be that high, but
Dude, I didn't either, man. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Okay. So look, let's do this. We're going to go
Mhm.
into a few specific categories, get a little bit deeper, and we're going to do a little bit of scoring as I always like to do. So this will be our first category, and this is what it's going to be called. Story, Eric. When we talk about Terrifier for 2016, we're going to give these categories a grade from 1 to 5. You guys in the chat, you guys can do this as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts. 1 to 5, 1 being absolute horrible and 5 being the best. What would you give Terrifier for a story?
can we do 0.5s or do they have to be solid numbers?
I've wrestled with this. Let me ask you this just for the fun, like, and this is live, so it's very transparent.
Mhm.
Would you rather it have 0.5s? Do you think that'd be more effective?
For this category, for me personally, yes, because I don't I think it's better than one number, but I don't think it's good enough to be the next number. You know what
Ooh,
I'm saying?
okay. All right. Well, look, just for tonight, I'm gonna say no, no 0.5s, because now I'm so curious to see what that number is gonna be,
You
man.
punk. You punk. Okay. Well, all right. Then I'm gonna go with a 2. I would have said
Okay.
2.5. And the reason why I'm gonna go with a 2 is there really isn't that much story to it. It's
Hmm.
literally a psychopath painted up like a clown, stalking and violently killing people. That's it.
Hmm.
It's nothing more than that.
Okay. All
So
right.
and despite what people think, if you love the gore, you love the performances, wise, there's not much to it at all.
Hmm. Hmm. All right.
So
Well said. Well said. In the chat, Jamster saying, I have been longing for the practical effects. Well, there you go. I mean, in this film, and again, to give credit to Damien Leone and the filmmakers and stuff, I have to say, man, they definitely put some work in because
hmm
some of the stuff that goes on, it's like, wow. Like,
hmm
there's no way that we would have seen some of this stuff, even back in the day with some of the great wizards of
yeah.
yesteryear. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely are doing some great stuff as far as practical work, especially in today's day and age. So, um, Sarah saying, I'm happy people like it. A win for Terrifier is a win for horror. It's just not for me at all.
Nothing wrong
Well
with that.
said, Sarah. And let me say this too. And I don't know how many people will see this replay. Well, let me say this too, Sarah. First of all, also thank you for being here because I was speaking about you earlier. I didn't say your
hmm
name, but I was speaking about you specifically because I know you hate this movie. But I appreciate you, number one, coming here
hmm
to hang out with us, and also helping to mod. But it goes to a bigger point where even for movies that we don't like, and Eric, obviously, we've done that many times, talked about movies that we really don't like,
hmm
but it's the conversation
Yeah.
about it that I really enjoy. And my hope has always been for people that are viewers or fans of the channel to kind of look at it that way because
hmm
we're not always I don't want to always talk about movies I love.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to talk about movies that I'm in the middle of the road with, or maybe even movies I hate. And so
hmm
anyways, I just wanted to just shout you out, Sarah, for being here because I know that, and we even know some people, Sarah, and I'm sure you probably know a couple of people I'm talking about that, if they don't know the film or if they don't like it, they're like, I'm not gonna be there for that.
hmm
So, anyways, thank you for being here, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Well, one thing I want to say to Sarah, don't you don't have to like say it's I'm sorry it's not for me. If it's not for you, you don't got to apologize to it or
Right.
apologize for it. Like I'm always here for the conversation, and there's been times when me and Knight we've done at least two battle worlds I think with Halloween 2018. I've never hid the fact that I'm not a big fan of that one.
Mhm,
But I've
mhm.
never told you or Kill or Coriander, like, I don't want to talk Halloween 2018.
Right,
I'm
right,
talking about it because it's a conversation, a civil conversation, which is
right.
always a bonus, whether
It's
there's
true.
when there's disagreements. But yeah, if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes with a movie that you're not a big fan of,
mm-hmm,
talking about it can really open up some interesting things.
mm-hmm,
And maybe you might find a little appreciation for it, or you might slide further down the
yeah.
hill with disdain.
And the perfect example was 2018. Why? And you guys have all witnessed it. I'm still not a fan of that, but I
Mhm,
have at least given David Gordon Green, some praise after rewatching it. Some of the stuff
mhm.
he's put in, behind the camera and stuff like that. So I can still
Right.
look at a film a different way, and the conversation always helps.
Yep. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And that's the other thing too. And again, just to say, like with Nightmare to 2010, I've been very vocal about that on the
Hmm.
channel over the years and talking about it. And by the way, if you guys haven't checked out that video again, please check it out. But talking about it, the ins and outs and the history of it
Hmm.
was it was an interesting experience, just like it's been when we've kind of done it in live stream format and so forth.
Hmm.
Again, talking about movies is fun, so that's all I can
Yeah.
say. But for me, for story, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with a 2. I think that it was very, very basic. I mean, as basic can be. I mean, that played to some of the strengths of the film in
Hmm.
the sense that it had a low budget, so what are we gonna do? And of
Right.
course, letting David, be front and center with art and his physicality. So I think it it's hard for me to say it like this because I'm only giving it a 2, which isn't a good
Hmm.
a 3 is at least, midway, right? But
Hmm.
even though it's a 2 for the story, I think they did about what they could do based
Right.
upon the resources available, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, I'm going with a 2. Paula's going with a 4.
Oh.
Wow. All right. Okay. Alan saying a 2, the news interview part and the lady with the baby doll weren't necessary. Okay. All right.
Hmm.
We got Said Talks horror podcast in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well.
Welcome.
Um, Saying I don't think this movie is a bad story. The first Terrifier is a chance encounter. Sometimes women run to the maniac and nothing else needs to be known. Now that's very true because
Yes.
obviously we've seen that with Halloween, right?
Hmm.
Um, but and hopefully I don't get on a soapbox here, but a huge difference is something that we're going to get to next. Okay, so
Okay.
we're going to go to another category. So our next category, here we go. That was a great segue, by the way, horror podcast. Thank you so much. This is our next category. All right, characters. And by the way, for you guys in the chat, let us know what you think. We're not going to get to everyone, but if you do send in a super chat, we'll make sure we get to your question and or comment, and we will also take your score too to add to the final score. Okay, so Eric, what do you think about the characters? What are you gonna do?
uh Characters, I think I'm gonna be fair when I say a 3. And the
Okay.
reason why we've already praised David as art. You know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
does a fantastic job. The other characters, news lady and baby doll lady, whatever we want to call her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those two characters notwithstanding, the other characters are just kind of there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
hate them. I
Mm-hmm.
don't love them. They're just there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like so any run of the mill like Friday the 13th character, if you don't, they're just there. You don't hate them, you don't love them. They exist,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. So I don't want to knock it because they're not characters that I wish would just get killed, so I don't have to watch them on screen.
Right.
There's some likability to them, like the scene in the pizza parlor. Those two characters, they're fun. They've got a good
Mm-hmm.
rapport. Then you've
Yep.
also got the exterminator who's just there. You know what I mean? You got
I
other
know,
characters that are
right?
just there. So it's they're pretty mid aside from art. So I think three is
Yeah.
is a fair score.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would go with a 3 as well. I think mid is the word to use.
Hmm.
I mean, Tara, obviously you're following her story throughout a lot of the film, not all of the film, so that
Yeah.
that kind of tells you what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of an odd shift too. I mean, I think again, it's about crossing the line. Maybe that
Mhm.
was part of the statement, which, anyways, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think
Right.
that we didn't get enough of the characters like in the pizza joint. The pizza joint was like a quick like blink,
Mhm.
as far as getting a sense of who these characters are and for you to actually latch onto them, to root for
Mhm.
them, to get invested in them. So when the
Mhm.
shit's happening, I
Yeah.
care about them. You know what I'm saying? It would have
Like, I
been
I
nice.
like I like the guys that work the pizza parlor, the pizza joint, but they're
Yeah,
3 minutes gone,
right.
if
If
that.
if it if that.
If that, yeah. So I'm like, I want more of those and less of the lady with the baby doll, you know what I mean? More of
Yes.
the pizza joint guys, or if I have to, more of the exterminator and a
Yes.
lot less of the news reporter, you know what I mean? So,
It's so true. Oh my god. All right, so I'm going with a 3 as well. Sarah's working hard in the chat saying we're at 30 likes. Very cool. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, Sarah. And again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. We got Tay in the chat. Welcome to the chat. We got a lot of new folks in the chat. Welcome,
nice.
welcome. Let me just say this too. First of all, don't forget the like button, but also if you guys haven't already, make sure you're subscribed here and also to Eric's channel as well. We got the link in the description
Thank you.
and all throughout this channel because he is our brother. Um, so Tay's saying pretty decent movie. The dude is scary. Okay. Okay. Danielle is throwing some stones saying the Nightmare reboot is better than the original in my opinion, but respect for being the original. Okay, well that's well said. I appreciate that. Yep. Russell is not a fan of art. F art. I love it. We got Sir James coming in
Hey,
with
James.
with a $10 super chat. Thank you so
Nice.
much, man. We appreciate that so very much. He says that's why this channel is great because of being open-minded and the knowledge you guys bring, and also you guys have great taste in cinema. Oh, thank you
Thanks,
so
dude.
much, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, man. Seriously, you're all
Yep.
right. Thank you so much. We'll play a clip for you in a second too, man. And James is going for a 3 for characters. All right. Okay. Very cool. Spoof is going with a 3. And January is not a fan of the news ladies, and she was odd as fuck.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
kidding.
Alan going with a 3. I did like Tara. She should have been a final girl. That's exactly what I was kind of alluding to. I think if they had done that, I
Mhm.
think it would have changed the balance of the story because
Yeah.
we got a chance to get invested in her rather than her sister. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? Again, I think part of it was to just, hit you upside the head and
It
make something happen that you didn't expect.
shock value, I think, is what it is.
Yes, yes. But I don't know if it was a good story choice,
I
in
I
my
w
opinion.
I wouldn't say it is. What should have happened is they should have reconnected, and then they should have made it to the end. They didn't both have to survive, but I think they should
Yeah,
have been together when one perished because
I
we
agree.
followed Tara for so long. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. Good
So,
point. Excellent point. Russell saying he's gonna give it a 3. Okay. All right. And we've got a night. This is great,
oh, I
man.
like that one
Holy shit. Why haven't I thought of this? We should have called the name of the channel this A Nightmare on Crystal Lake.
with a ghost face icon.
Can I just say
I
that
love it.
might and there have been some really cool names, and shout out to all the ones I usually give a shout out to, but
Mhm.
this name, that is all right.
That's a good one.
Wow, I love that. Welcome to welcome to the chat. I definitely know you haven't been in the live chat because I could definitely remember that name.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome. We hope you're enjoying the conversation. Wow, that's awesome. Russell saying greatest oh geez, thanks, Russell. We appreciate you, man.
Your check's in the mail,
Seriously.
dude.
Right? I know. Very, very cool. Um, all right. So we've got a 3 for characters from you and a 3 from me. Let's go to our next category. And again, you guys in the chat, let us know what you think as well. Here's our next category. You knew we had to go here. Okay, man. For kills, what's the score you want to give Terrifier for kills? 1 to 5, 1 being bad, 5 being the best.
I'm how do I say this? I'm gonna give it a 4.
Mm,
Despite how gory they are, and they're very over the top.
hmm
For me personally, I don't like gore for gore's sake, and I think that's why I'm gonna not give it a full 5. The practical effects for the budget are
hmm
really, really good.
hmm
But we didn't need okay, when I'm trying to how do I word this so YouTube doesn't flag you? When Tara is taken out, she's
Yeah.
taken out with a pistol. He did
hmm
not need to use it a dozen times on her. You know
Yes.
what I mean? When someone is stabbed in the ankle, okay, you didn't have to
Yeah.
go a dozen times with it. I get the hacksaw. I get that. I'll let that one slide because that's its moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that allowed the selfie, so I'll allow that. But some of this is just so over the top for the sake of being over the top, and lots of times I just end up rolling my eyes. I'm like, come on, do we? Come on.
hmm
You know what I mean? So I
hmm
definitely cannot give it a full 5 on a personal level because it's just too gratuitous for me. It's
Okay.
like for me, it's like we'll go back to wrestling. Make
hmm
the moves count. Don't just do the flippy shit to look cool. Make it
Yeah.
or like me, I'm into the death match stuff, the violent stuff. Make
hmm
that stuff count. Just don't be hitting each other with tubes just for the sake of doing it. Make that move mean something. So, and I
Right.
think I think that's where they missed the ball.
Okay. All right. Now, it's so interesting that and of course we don't know what we're going to say beforehand,
Mhm,
but I also am going to give it a 4
mhm.
almost for the same exact
Yeah.
reason. And it's funny because if we did a point 0.5, maybe I'd push it to a 4.5
Mhm,
only because of the fact that I absolutely love the fact that it's practical shit.
mhm.
And I know, and even seeing, reading up on it and interviews and seeing behind the scenes, I know they put so much effort into to the practical and the love they have for practical. I'm talking back in the day stuff, Rick
Yep.
Baker, Rob Bottin, Stan Winston, all the greats. So I love that. And I think that we need more people, in my opinion, just my opinion as a horror
Mhm.
fan, we need more people in horror that think like that can also give us other things other than art and these intense kills. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
variations on that, but just the craftsmanship is what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. So for me, the kills are well done and they are super intense, but I agree, they go way over,
Mhm.
even for me, and I can hey, look, gore is fine with me. I can deal with
Yeah.
gore, and sometimes I love it depending
Same
on
here.
what the film is, but I agree with you 100% that sometimes when you go overboard, like if you're shooting someone, like if you're taking them out and you shot them, I just thought about this. If Loomis shoots Michael 6 times, like, okay, that's one thing. But if he goes 17, 18, 19 shots, it's like, okay, wait a minute now.
It's like
Come
the it's
on.
it's like this night, the scene has to justify it. There's a reason why Loomis shot Michael 6 times.
Right.
Or let's go to the end
Good
the
point.
end of 7. There's a reason why Brad Pitt took out John Doe with 1 bullet, but then he emptied the clip.
Yes.
There's a
Right.
reason. Art just did it because he's art.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Good
that's what
point.
they wanted. They wanted to show more gore. They
Yeah.
wanted to jump over the line,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you that's the only reason why they did it.
Yep. Yep. Well said, man. Well said. In the chat, and a nightmare on Crystal Lake. You're welcome, saying thank you. And we got Sarah gifting a membership, man. Hey, thank you, Sarah.
Nice.
Oh, that is very cool of you and very kind. We appreciate it. Just so generous. Jeez. She's got me flustered. Thank you so much, Sarah. It looks like it went to Fear the Phantom. Fear the Phantom is back with us. Very cool. Give some love to the Queen, who is just always so awesome and also always so supportive of this community. Thank you,
Mhm.
thank you, thank you. Um, Danielle saying the kills would have to be a 5 just from the clips I've seen. 5 for the intensity. Okay. All right. We got a
The
4
intensity,
from.
yes. The
Mhm.
intensement is a lot different.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Because when we're doing this as a category, there's a lot involved in that, in
Mm,
my opinion, the way I look at it, and obviously the way that you looked at it
yeah.
as well. Um, Paul is going with a 4. Let's see. Russell's going with a 5. Um, and Nightmare saying I actually got the name from Halloween Horror Nights. Well, there you go. All right. Very, very cool. We got Nightfall in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you.
Hey,
Good evening. All right. Let's see. And said talks, and let me know if I'm pronouncing that right. Is it said or seed? I think it's said, but saying 5 for kills. Why? I honestly thought the best gore effects was done by Robert Hall in Laid to Rest. Laid to Rest did have some really,
okay, I gotta
really
see that.
impressive kills. Yeah, we did that. And by the way, man, it's given me an opportunity to plug a lot of shit. We did Laid to Rest for Slasher Movie Club, and it was one of the final episodes, sadly that is, but one of the final episodes we did for Slasher Movie Club. So if you haven't seen that episode, please check it out. Saying I thought it couldn't be topped, but wow, Terrifier did things I've never seen. There you go. Alan's going with a 4. All right. And let's see, not JPEG in the house. What's up? Good
Hey,
to see you. All right. We got 34 likes. Sarah's like, let's get to 40. Yes. And we got Nightfall. He's all right, man. Nightfall coming in with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, brother.
thanks, dude.
Saying, good evening, family. Love you guys. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. The support, all of you guys show us is just amazing. It really, really is, and it helps us out so much, keeps us going. Let's do another super chat clip for Nightfall and Sarah and James and all you guys. Look, man. Okay, I'm gonna do 2. The first one, Eric, I know you'll love this one. Then we're gonna do what's become a modern favorite. So this first one, look, man. Sometimes you got to protect certain parts of your body, otherwise this will happen.
Oh no.
You can feel it, dude. You can feel it.
Yeah.
My hole. All right, so look. Here's another one for you guys. This is becoming a modern classic. Here we go.
It is not in the file. It is not.
There we go.
I feel
All
for
right.
that girl, man.
You're right. Oh my god. All right. So look. Thank you guys so much for all the support. We appreciate you. And even Sarah's laughing too. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Just having some good conversation and some laughs.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that. It really, really doesn't. That's what this is all about. Okay. So so far we've been neck to neck on these scores, Eric, which I'm really it's interesting. But we got one more category that I want to tackle,
Okay.
and it is this. Okay, so overall, 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the top, 1 to 5. What's the score you want to give Terrifier?
As a whole,
Yes.
we have a little saying on this channel when we get together, like there is no lying here. I'm gonna give it a 2 on a personal. It's just not, kind of like Sarah, it's just not for me. I love David as art. I love him. His performance is amazing. And I'll make this suggestion to some people. If you can't, like Danielle's in the chat, if you can't handle gore, you can fast forward it. I do think this movie needs to be seen if you like horror just for his performance alone. But to me, overall, the characters are just there. The gore is for gore's sake, and I want a little bit, like I said, have some reasoning behind it aside from the selfie kill, is what we'll call it with the hacksaw. It's just not for me. Like, it's not awful. It's not an awful movie. There's a lot of movies I've seen that I've discussed with you here. I've discussed on my channel. There's a lot worse than Terrifier.
Yeah.
Because we've the way the movie looks is great. David's performance is great. It's just the rest of it is just not my cup of tea. I wouldn't give it 1 star. I think 2 is fair.
Okay. All right. We got 2. Now, before I give my score, and by the way, you guys let us know what your score is too in the chat overall, 1 to 5. But we also have the poll in the chat. And oh wow, okay, we do. I was just about to say let's get more votes, but we've got 32 votes so far, so
Oh,
that's really
nice.
good. We've got 35 in the chat. So if you haven't voted, please do. And the numbers are shifting a little bit, Eric.
Are they?
So right now the question is we're giving it, we're going to give the verdict, bro. Is
Okay.
Terrifier a good movie? Yes is saying it's innocent. No is saying it's guilty. Right now, yes has dropped down to 69%.
Oh, wow.
So it was up at I think 76. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember.
It's
But
in the
anyways,
70s. Yeah.
yeah, it's dropping down, man. So interesting enough, this was going to help us decide. Our score will be a part of that too. So overall, for me, this is a difficult um category to
Mm-hmm.
score for me because on the one hand, I appreciate the film for a lot of reasons, some of which I've already spoken about. I also appreciated the experience of watching it because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what to expect. So just imagine yourself. You just work this in your mind, guys. It was like I think it was a Friday night. Me and Corey were sitting down. We had pizza. We had our
Oh,
favorite
no.
soda, and like we
Mm-hmm.
do it up, man. We do it up just like we do with watch parties here. We really try to
Mm-hmm.
do it up, and we were like, let's watch this movie, and so it was a very it was just a nice sitting, and we watched it, and man, both of us like, whoa, wow, there was, in other words, it got us to pay attention. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And the kills were so well done. They went way over though. I mean, I agree with that. And I think that that's just going to be a calling card of this franchise.
Yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately. The story was very basic, barely there. The characters were not great, not because they weren't good characters, but they just didn't have the time to shine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I add all of that together, because it's funny because if you say to me, "Hey, do you like this movie?" I would say, "Yeah, yeah, it was pretty good," for what it is. But based upon all the factors from A to Z, I think I'm gonna give it a 3 overall.
Okay.
And to me, 3 is middle of the road. And it's mostly because we don't get enough from the characters,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very basic story and kind of, and I think we didn't even get to this earlier like I thought, but someone was talking about obviously it's a psychopath going after women, and we've had other movies like that. I was thinking Halloween, right, in my mind. The difference with Halloween is that you have Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis,
Yeah.
and you have the characters, Laurie, Annie, and Linda.
Mm-hmm.
You get a sense of who they are, especially
Yeah.
Laurie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the whole film. And number 3, there's a mythology, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To Michael, there's the boogeyman. He's
Right.
coming. Tommy Doyle and the kids are afraid of the boogeyman and
They had
all of
time to
that.
build up that story, the urban
Yes.
legend or whatever, connect him to the boogeyman. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's funny. Hell, man, I'm just and all of this is live, guys. We don't there's no script, man. There's no safety net anytime we go live, which I like it that way. I'm thinking about it right now, man. It'd be cool, either a video or maybe even a live stream, just kind of comparing the two. Because there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of similarities as far as, you know, um, indie filming, guerrilla style filming, low budget. You've got
Mm-hmm.
a silent killer.
Word of mouth making it popular.
Yes, yes. I think that'd be an let's talk about that after this, man.
Okay.
I think it'd be interesting and eh, to kind of dissect the two. But anyways, um overall, I'm giving the movie a 3 because I just think some of the things that held it down, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
Yeah. And one thing I want to say here, just because we may, like, me personally, I gave it a 2.
Mhm.
Doesn't, like I said, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. There are
Right.
plenty of movies that, if put in these categories, I have to look at different. Look, Jason Goes to Hell. You
There it
had the
is.
verdict of that last Sunday. I watched it, and it was 100% fair. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I might not have agreed with the outcome, but it was 100% fair. And we've had Jason Goes to Hell broken down on Battleworld. There are
Mhm.
times when I fully admit there are some problems, major
Mhm.
problems with that, but you can still enjoy a movie that has a lot of problems. So we're not trying to
Right.
bash a movie you love. You know what I mean?
Right.
Despite, or me, even me personally, like I said, I gave it a 2. I'm not, if you love Terrifier and you want to give it a 5, God bless you. That's your right.
Right.
But the way we're breaking it down, we look at it differently. I guarantee you, Jason Goes to Hell. If I was, if we did that like with me, it would not be getting 5s in every category because I know what it is when you break it down. So I just want people to realize that if they're surprised that maybe we didn't give it 5s, you know, it doesn't mean that we hate the film.
Right, right. And like you said, even on something like Battleworld, it made me think about the triple threat where we had Jason Goes to Hell versus the Elm Street remake and TCM
Next
4.
Generation, yeah.
Yeah, and Jason Goes to Hell won some categories, bro. We
Yeah,
were
won the
I
fight,
was
yeah.
I was voting for it. I was like, what the hell? Eric has fooled me again. No, I'm just joking. I wasn't, but no, but when you really break it down, sometimes certain things like we always say, there's no lying here. And a movie that even has problems sometimes put up against another movie, you might find the gold in that movie that has problems. You know what I'm saying? When you compare it. So, anyways, interesting stuff. But yeah, my overall was a 3. Yours was a 2. We've got the poll in the chat. I'm going to take the average of our score.
Okay.
And basically, it's going to give us a sense of where this movie stands. We're going to take the poll and give this thing a verdict. We got Fear the Phantom saying, thanks for the channel membership. You're welcome, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see what else we got. Russell saying no CGI. The old ways are the best way. I love practical as well, man. I really do. Nightmare is going with a 3 overall. Let's see. Nightmare saying the story is meh for me. There you go. Let's see. I want to catch up with everyone. DJ saying I would give the movie a 2.5. If only we could do a 2.5, right? Nightfall's going with a 3. We got Jerry also gifting a membership. Hey man, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Seriously. That is awesome. It looks like it went to Doom Turkey. So Doom Turkey is back with us. Definitely give a shout out to Jerry. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate the generosity and helping to strengthen the community. And Doom Turkey saying Terrifier 1 feels more like a proof of concept than a movie. Well, I definitely can agree. Like I said, they were really trying to overcome the budget. You know what I mean? And you can, and I will say, and I'm really hoping the more we talk about this, I'm hoping we tackle Terrifier 2, because I think this is a great conversation. But in Terrifier 2, you can totally tell they had a budget. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like night and day. You know what I'm saying? It's not even close, man. But let's see. Alan's going with a 2. Okay. Fear the Phantom saying, I respect people who like Terrifier, but it's not for me. Gore and shock factor isn't my kind of horror. Okay.
It's not for everybody. It really isn't.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Let's see. I want to catch up to everyone. I know everyone's throwing some stuff in here. Let's see. Seth saying, I give it overall a 4. Art carries the movie. Love the live stream. You guys work great together. Hey, well, thank you so much. We've had a little bit of practice, haven't we,
Eric?
Eric?
Bit, yeah. Once or twice.
Let me just say this. Eric, first of all, Eric is such a great conversationalist. So this is easy work to do with him, and talking horror or talking movies in general is always fun. So much credit to Eric, because he makes this easy. But thank you, Sid. Thank you. Very cool. David's going with a 3. Russell's going with a 5. We got Eli in the house. All right. Jamster is saying 3. Besides the art, the acting is subpar. And thank you, Jerry. Seriously, it was so kind of you, man. Very, very cool. Mary's saying a 3 for me, but I love David's work as art. Yes. And we got Sarah.
Put this on the movie poster. Put this on the movie poster.
Sarah said, it is a 1 for me. My review was, well, that was a movie. I couldn't make a movie, but you did. Good job.
Good night, everybody.
What? Oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah,
Sarah has a really cool sense of humor.
Mhm.
Like I like her vibe. She has like a really like balanced vibe and sense of humor. That might have been one of the funniest things because I could hear her voice, knowing her voice. I could hear her saying that. That might
Mhm.
have been one of the funniest things that she said. That was
Yeah.
great, Sarah. Holy crap. That was great. That was
You're gonna
great.
have to screen cap that,
I know. All right, so let's do
Get that on the
God,
next Nightwatch Zone T-shirt. That's what you should do.
that was so good. All right,
Yeah.
let's do another clip for you guys. Sarah, that was great. Let's go back. Let's go again to the old school. Let's see. Yeah, let's do this one. Here we go.
Oh, well, that's it, isn't it? It's over! You motherfucker!
That's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard.
Lance
Yeah.
always to the rescue.
Thank
Oh
you,
my
Lance.
God. Sarah, that was awesome. Well, that
It
was a
was.
movie. I couldn't make a movie, but you did. Good job. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. And Sarah's got the link for Eric's channel too. She's rocking and rolling,
Thank you,
man.
Sarah.
That was Sarah, you win. You win. That was
Mhm.
great. Death
She
Central in the
gets a
house.
5 tonight.
She does. She does. Oh my God. Death Central said, just got myself an Art the Clown tattoo. There you
Nice.
go. All right. Very, very cool, man. Good to have you here. Nightfall said Sarah's statement of the year. I'm rolling. I know. That was great. That was great. The only thing that might have been better is hearing her say it.
Mm.
That was just great though, Sarah. Seriously. Okay. So look, let's do this, Eric. As the
Sure.
poll is still open, guys. So we still got votes. We're not going to close it yet. 38 votes. Let's see if we can get it to 40. Is Terrifier a good movie? Yes is at 74. So it's moving up. No is at 26. All right. So Eric and Jerry just said just sub to Eric's channel. Awesome
Awesome.
channel. It
Thank you.
is.
Hope
It
you enjoy it.
is. And thank you so much, brother. We appreciate that. Okay, so
Thank you.
Eric, as I tally up our scores here, which is very easy to do because we were pretty much even with each other.
Mhm.
But any final thoughts on Terrifier or this conversation?
I had a lot more fun with the conversation than I did with the film. Good stuff notwithstanding. I will say this. I don't regret watching the film because, like I said, if I didn't watch the film, I would not get to see how awesome David was as art.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have that creepy feeling watching it with his performance.
Mm-hmm.
But in all honesty, if it's not for my channel or Knight's or anyone else's channel that I'm a guest star on, if they want to discuss it, like I've said to you before, there's only a couple movies, subject matter wise, I'm not discussing. If you wanted to have me on to discuss Terrifier again for some other reason,
Mm-hmm.
I'd do it. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's not for my friends' channels, I probably will not return to this film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
I don't hate it, but I don't see myself watching this personally ever again.
Yeah. Well said. Well said, man. For me, this is just interesting because again, we are and I've we talked about Terrifier on Slasher Movie Club, and I believe we talked to Terrifier too. I can't remember that, but anyways, old school stuff discussions. But I haven't really gone like to a deep dive like this.
Mhm.
But I have said this before, and I do believe it. I mean, we're basically witnessing the birth of an icon,
Yes.
possible icon,
Yeah.
which is cool. And I
Mhm.
think Sarah said it really well. A win for Terrifier is a win for horror, and that's good for us as fans.
Mhm.
So I do think it's interesting. We're witnessing the birth of a possible icon, and it's been a while since we've seen that. Most notably, and I could be wrong, but most notably, the last time I could think of it is basically Jigsaw. Okay, so and we're talking 20 years ago. Okay,
Maybe Victor Crowley, but that's kind of pushing it. That's still like a
yeah,
niche group. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Victor could have been. Yeah. Don't get me. Don't get me go to Victor.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
telling
We'll
you.
put the Band-Aid back on. We won't talk
Well,
about
I
that.
mean, not in a bad way, but it's like, yeah, Victor definitely could have. There could have been some cool stuff happening. I
Mhm.
mean, the first film, and we did talk about that on Slasher Movie Club too. It's funny we're referencing a lot of Slasher Movie Club, man. But anyways, but we're kind of witnessing the birth of an icon and a new
Mhm.
franchise, and and so many people, myself included, so many people in the live chats and the comments, they are salivating for something new, something fresh. No more sequels, no more legacy sequels, or remakes and reimaginings and stuff like that. So, this is one of those things that for me as a horror fan, I still want to acknowledge, these films, even if I have some issues with them, because man, it's so hard to get new horror villains. It really
Mhm.
is because studios, it's a business. Studios will put their money on things that are established, right?
Safe.
So
Wanna be
that are
safe.
safe. That's right. So that's what makes this so interesting. All right, guys, we're gonna get ready to close the poll up. Um, Nightfall saying Night, that might be the best clip ever too. Yeah, it's a good one. It's an oldie but goodie, man. It's an oldie but goodie. Danielle saying Sarah should make a video of her saying that so Night can use it as a clip. I would too. I would. I would. Sarah's probably turning red or already have turned red. Um, okay. All right. Nightmare saying I don't see Terrifier as an awful movie, but I don't see it as a great movie. So it means it's okay
Mhm.
for me. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that. And not JPEG. I would love to see Cynthia Rothrock be in a horror movie. I love Cynthia.
Yeah.
All you martial artists heads, martial arts films heads, I still love it, man. I don't talk about it like I used to, and that's a YouTube thing. But yeah, Cynthia Rothrock. Cynthia Rothrock answered. She commented on my video. Like
Yeah,
this
you
is
told me
old.
that
I told you
once.
that one of
Yeah.
my oldest videos on this channel, and full transparency, I don't think it's a great video as far as what it. I mean, what I said was fine because I meant
Mhm.
it and I know what I'm talking about with that type of stuff. But she commented on it and I was like,
Mhm.
holy shit, that's Cynthia
Yeah.
Rothrock.
It's real. That's one thing that I do love about being a YouTuber. Like I love the interaction in general. If people
Yeah.
watch my videos and they say they like it, but when someone is involved with the film themselves, that
Yeah.
means they searched it out and
Yes.
found it. Like Adam Marcus has sent me messages about my Jason Goes to Hell videos.
Hmm.
I did a video on he has a movie that I do recommend. It's called Secret Santa. It's
Hmm.
about it's a Christmas horror movie that he did, and me and Frenzy did a podcast live stream about it. And one of the actresses actually commented on the video
Ooh,
itself, and it's cool when that type of
nice.
stuff happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people
Yeah.
involved in the film, or um, even if they just give it a like on Facebook or something like that,
Right.
the fact that they've seen that, and what I like about it is you can tell when if they're bullshitting you or if they've seen it, because like Adam and the girl who is in Secret Santa, they've mentioned things that we said in the video. So we
Yeah.
know that they've watched it. So
Yeah.
that's really, really cool. Like with you and Cynthia Rothrock when they do that.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. It really means a lot. It truly, truly does, man. No
Mhm.
doubt at all. All right. So listen, for our score, and we're gonna get ready to close the polls. Our score, and we were pretty much the same score all the way through, except for the overall. You gave it a 2, I gave it a 3. So our average score when we round it up is a 3. So it's middle of the road,
Mhm.
basically, is what we have for a score. So it's up to you guys now, man. We got to look at this poll. We're gonna get ready to close it. It looks like we know where this is gonna go. We've got 39 votes, and we're gonna call it, man. It
Okay.
looks as though Terrifier from 2016, 71% say that it's innocent.
Wow.
71%. And it was a runaway. It got close at one, well, not close, but it started to
Mhm.
go the other direction for a little bit. But it is innocent, bro. So there we
Okay.
are. The horror fans have spoken. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff, man. Alan, what's up, man? Hello to you as well. Gina in the house. Good to see you guys.
Hey, Gina.
Very, very cool. Well, guys, there we have it. I mean, and I think this was a really fun
It
conversation.
was.
We really we we touched upon a lot of stuff with this film and things that are kind of extensions of it, so to
Mhm.
speak. I liked it.
I'm not gonna lie. I was you heard my final score. I was a
Yeah.
little worried after I finished the movie. I'm like, God damn it! I hope I'm not too negative, man. But I was able to find some good, and like I said, it's all about the conversation. So despite
Yeah.
what I think about the finished product, I had a lot of fun tonight, dude. I really did.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that again, that's the thing about breaking it down like we've been doing, whether it's Battle World or the Great Debates or this. And for me, I think it's an interesting way to approach talking about a film, but it also allows the live chat, the
Hmm.
audience, and so forth to get involved with it as well. And I know, because I've seen it here and there, a lot of other people like, hey man, let's start breaking down stuff, and that's fine. But I think when we do it, the mix of the folks that join us, whether it's, obviously the four of us on Battle World, Kill and Coriander with us, I think it's a really cool mix. And shout out to all the folks that join us on the panel, because
Hmm.
I really like conversation, so I
Yes.
guess what I'm saying is I'm giving a shout out to everyone, including you,
Hmm.
of course, because the conversation is what makes it all come together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we could easily sit there and say, yeah, it's a good film, I like it, or
Yeah.
no, it sucks,
Yeah.
bye. I
Yeah.
want to get
Why?
deeper. Yeah,
Exactly.
I want to get deeper than that, and sometimes you find some gold nuggets, man. And
Hmm.
I said this last week when we did the verdict of Jason Goes to Hell. I said, you specifically, more than any other person, got me to look at that film in a different way, to see
Hmm.
more of the good, or I should say, to kind of allow myself to acknowledge that good more, because
Hmm.
obviously there are things in it that, yeah, okay, there was some good stuff in it, but I
Hmm.
think that Friday fan inside of me had just been so disappointed or frustrated
It
that
was like
it kind of,
Alien 3 with you the first time we
yes.
saw it. Yeah.
Exactly,
I get it.
exactly. I'm
Hmm.
still, I'm telling you, man, when we finished the live stream last night, I was like, wow, man, I was like going off on Alien 3, man.
Yeah.
It really was a thing.
Hmm.
It really was, man. Um, all right. So in the chat, as we wind it up, thank you guys so much. Uh Sarah said, well, that was a poll. Good job. That's good. Sarah, that's gonna be your new thing. I
Hmm.
like it. I like that. Oh my
Well, that was
god.
the thing. Good job.
That was a
Yeah.
thing. Good job. Oh my god. And Daniel's like, hope you make that vid for night, Sarah. I know, Sarah, for real. If you do, I will use it. I really will. I mean, no pressure, but I really will. My god, that's great. Okay, guys, look, as usual, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps to support us. Leave some comments. This has been a fun conversation. All of you
Hmm.
guys were great. This is, I'm getting some good vibes on this, to maybe have this as an ongoing series, new
Hmm.
series. This is a lot of fun. It was a different way to approach it. So definitely leave us some comments, so we can continue the conversation. And make sure that you subscribe to Eric's channel. We've had the link in the chat. It's in the description. And we will catch you guys next time. Check out my new video, my new Why You Hate video. It's out and it's hot,
It's a
hot off the
video.
press.
Good
It's a
job.
video. All right, man. Touche. All right. So we will catch you guys next time. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you're the Night Watch. Peace.
Cheers.